I'll laugh every time I turn this thing on and say, "Who's that old geezer in the picture there? I don't recognize this guy. What happened to the young, sparkling person who used to do this? I don't know. I don't know. I guess everything changes." Anyway, I want to talk today about. We keep talking about all kinds of things like, let's say covering. Do I cover or not? There are several reasons why you should not, but the tone should be covered. What we in America, in English-speaking countries, call covered, a covered tone. The word covered in Italian used to mean sort of darker. Don't say I, say oh, and make it a darker, rounder sound deliberately, right? But cover to us, really, they used to say pass, that a voice passes in the different registers. So what I want to talk about today is absolute, even, steady, a perfect posture of the diaphragm while we're singing. We're lucky we've got a set of instigators that I learned or stole from great singers. Say one of them is Bob Bob. So I do Bob Bob and I look and see what my diaphragm does. And it goes, Bob, and it jumps out a little bit. You can see it right there. Look at this. Bob, there it is. Now, I've got something that gives me the correct posture of the diaphragm. And now the secret is to maintain the posture. So every time I go, Bob, my hand does that. Oh, the whole idea is to leave it there. Not do this, not do that, but to hold it absolutely the same. So if I go, Bob, there it is. Bob, see? Bob, all right, so you'll notice that my arm is constantly getting the energy it needs to stay like this. Which means when I go to high notes, there's more resistance, or if you would, let's put it this way. You push down on my arm, and I have to give more energy to keep it there. Otherwise, it'll do this. If I do that, I'm not maintaining the posture of my arm, am I? So the whole idea, this is the posture I want. Now you press like the crazy down my head, I'm going to try to hold it, but I have to shoot more energy into my arm to keep it there. Then you let go. Now I'm giving much less energy to keep it there. What if you push from underneath? Oh, like that. Uh-oh. Now I'm giving you a different kind of energy. Right now it's down because I'm trying to neutralize your up pressure you're putting on my arm. But if you take this away, then I give less energy. But the point is not to lock it up like that and do this to it, but just maintain the posture of it. If I have to give a little more energy, a little less energy, that's what I do constantly. I don't do this. I don't change the posture of my diaphragm all the time. I only have one posture for it, and we're lucky because we've got these instigators. We've got Bob 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 and Ma and Blah. We've got every one of these presets the diaphragm in the posture it should be in for the kind of singing we want to do. If I do Ma, you can see it jumping out. It is posturing. Look at this. See? Now once I've got that posture of the diaphragm, guess what? I've got to not let the posture change at all, and that means that the compensation for energy that I need to keep it there comes from my back. So I breathe in my back. Some people used to call it breath support. They said, oh no, you're squeezing the breath against the diaphragm, so it was a breath support. If we discuss the history of sort of terminology about this, the most famous baritone of the bel canto baritones was Mattia Battistini, and they asked him, how do you sing, because he was considered a perfect singer, and he said, how do you sing? And he said, I press my chest. Now, I weigh 220 pounds, so if I were to press my chest or your chest with that kind of weight, what would happen? So how do I know how hard to press it? Especially if I press it this hard, la, I'm going to press the breath. Ready? La. Now if I leave it there, again, la, I've got to give more energy to compensate for the resistance of my vocal cords when I go up higher. So the whole idea is my vocal cords are getting longer and thinner, and the glottis is actually closing tighter. So there's more resistance, which I must equalize here. How do I equalize it? Do I push? Or what if I push? I'm choking to death. I can't. the more I choke, and the more I push, the more I choke. So Mr. Battistini was, the greatest baritone ever. Simply used a description that doesn't help anybody. It might help you in one note. Ba, 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 ba. All right, I'm going to use that. Blah, I've got it. But the minute you push down on it, push up on it, the arm moves. And the minute I change any resistance in my throat, la, 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 all right, it's gone. If I over support, let's call pushing, push out on it, it's a form of overloading the voice. It has to be very careful because I'm changing the posture. When I do that, eventually, guess what happens? All of a sudden, my voice cuts off. See? So this matter of holding the diaphragm in one position is a big deal. Now, when you cover the tone, you go la 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 la. Now, am I changing the posture of my diaphragm? La 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 la. Yes, I had to give it a shove, and then hold it still. What do I get up there if I don't change the posture? La 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 la. It's not wide open. La. I'm having to change the posture again. So I want to find a way to sing that does not require all of these posture changes. One of them chucks me off, and one of them lets me crack. My voice cracks wide open. High notes require more energy, so the young singers, especially young tenors, end up pushing harder for a high note, and sometimes they crack anyway because the push is still not adequate. But very often they choke off like that, and that's what causes the tone not to come out properly. So we got to learn how to do this. Now hold it there, don't move it. Let's say you hold it relaxed, but don't move it. Now if I sigh, I go, ah. If I sigh, I still hold my diaphragm perfectly. Really, I should say not my diaphragm. The posture of my diaphragm. I hold it as much the same as I can all the time. Some people say, don't move, hold it still. What if I hold it still like that? First thing you know, I'm getting all stuck and cramped up, so I have to be very careful. So let's review. We said, Mattia Battistini said, press the chest. Well, that's not really adequate to help us. It might get us started for the, a couple of middle notes, but you got to know what to do to sing high and sing low. Pavarotti got a master class. These are master singers. These are not bad singers. These are great singers. So, but their terminology is dealing with the same problem that all through history, if you read every book ever written, you can find everybody has a problem describing what this is. So here comes Trimble with the new concept of posturing. I'm going to say posture the diaphragm. Pavarotti said, it's here like a baby. Push, push, push. Of course, the baby's posture when they laugh or cry goes, ah, and it goes out. And Manuel Garcia taught what he called a miniature cough. Ah, 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 ah. See, the miniature cough does this step that the diaphragm needs to find its correct posture, and then once you got it, then you don't change it. We have exercise we do like, that's sort of a physical manifestation of the stillness that is in my rib cage and in my back, or not my back is squeezing, but in my rib cage and in my front, my diaphragm. So Leonard Warren said this is a frozen pond. Don't let it move. Well, that's holding it dead still. Let's see. If I hold it still, I can't sing. I'm choking to death. So I have to do something in my throat, which is what he did. He used the pre-sneeze. So I'm going to hold this dead still and go, la. So there are solutions to some of these problems, just a matter of which one helps the young singers the most. I know when I performed, I did a lot of stuff, a lot of big operas, and you realize the thing that is the best thing you can do is maintain this completely still and have the right kind of voice for the music, which I didn't always have. So I got in trouble. If I got in trouble, that means that I get tired. It was because I was over supporting. I was over holding. I got to find this one. La. So you get Tito Schipa and Claudio Muzio, and they sighed. They went, ah. All right, so what does this do? Does it move out when I sigh? Ah, yes. All right, now I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go, ah. And I'm going to keep sighing when I go up to those upper notes and things. I'm not going to let the posture change. So I go, I'm just sighing, and that's here, right at the base of my sternum. If I move down to my epigastrium area, which is some singers sing right here, so they go, it never moved. But I didn't keep it still by holding. I simply postured it and maintained the posture. So somebody says, oh, that's just semantics. It doesn't matter. You still have to do something. Well, that's the point. If we can find a way to describe it that works for us, what's wrong with that? You guys have big operas to get up and sing in your future. You better hope you know something about how to control this, because you will choke to death sometime or crack. One time I was sick and I was taking pills and my stomach was real upset, and I cracked 22 times in a performance of Faust. Next time, no problem at all. You know. The idea is to find the right lean. Here's another word. The Italians have been using the word appoggiare for years. Appoggio, which means lean. And appoggiare is to lean. If I lean the breath, as Tetrazzini says, like leaning a ladder up against the wall, and I go, la, la, la. So here's the problem again. I lean. How much do I lean? What is the weight of the lean? Is it a big ladder, a lead ladder, a bamboo ladder, a paper ladder, a rope ladder? Because what really happens is that you lean the breath over against the diaphragm, and that might work great for one note, but you've got to sing another note. If I go la, la, there's more resistance on that note there is on the note where I started. La, la, la. So in order to keep the ladder there, I have to hold it, because the wall of the room, I lean this ladder against the wall, and this is a movable wall. It wants to move on me, and this one wants to move on me. It wants to either come in and collapse or go out and push and get all tight. There is an in-between, folks, where if you can get that feeling. I remember Caballé had people lying down on their backs and singing. They put weights here. Well, that means that you're also holding one position all the time. So the people in the class were not very successful. She could sing anything. She was a fabulous singer. But no one asked the question, and nobody discussed variable energy. If I'm doing this and you're pushing down on me, I am varying the amount of energy that I'm using to keep my arm in this posture. Maybe you put weights out there. Put 5 pounds, put 10 pounds, put 20 pounds. All of a sudden I'm working harder and harder to keep it the same. Not to change it, but to keep it in the same posture. Then you take those weights off. I said, oh boy, now I can give less. I'm still maintaining the same posture, and I'm hardly working at all. Now you start, let's say, pushing up. Let's get a jack and start pushing my arm upward. Guess what? I'm trying my best to hold it there. That means I'm giving more energy, but I'm not changing the posture. So this is really it in a nutshell. When I go to high notes, I have more resistance. Therefore, I have to equalize the resistance with the energy in my diaphragm. How much energy do I give? See? You know, people were worried about things like don't change the shape of your mouth when you go to high notes. Well, by not doing anything here, I don't need more energy here. My mouth is set. If I can get a really loose mouth, if I can do this, see? All I did was relax my jaw and the pencil fell out. What if I sing like that? La, how are you today? How are you today? I'm feeling fine. You can't see it, but I didn't move my diaphragm one hair. But I didn't hold it still. This is what's so confusing. I maintained the posture of it that I got when I first attacked the note. But what change? You can maintain the same posture. Oh, yes, you can. The posture is not what changes. The energy supply is what changes. And this is, maybe it's confusing, but I'll try to demonstrate some of these things. But if I go la, 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 now I have a certain amount of energy. The energy that I need to maintain that. La, 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 la. Now give me less energy. La, 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 la. Now, that really is a whole lot less energy than a high note. La, 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 la. I'm glad we don't have to do too many of those things. But the point is that I'm giving more energy only to maintain the posture of my diaphragm. I'm not giving it to push and shove. And I have to be sure. Some singers are so afraid of cracking that they overdo all the time. So now let's try with different voice placements. Let's say I'm going yum 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 yum, sitting right up there. Yum 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 yum. You want to use a placement approach, psychological approach. You can certainly do that. How much energy do you need to achieve that posture of the resonance? Now we're going to posture again. And that posture of the diaphragm. Remember, I can grab air here and do things to air, but I cannot form air. I need an air column, a steady one. If I'm going to sing, I need an air column. Just like a clarinet has one. Everybody's got one. You're blowing air in all these instruments. And I used to play the bugle in the Army. And it's got a tube like this of air. And I'm supposed to keep that buzz going all the time. And the tube makes the sound. So the idea is that my air column makes the sound. If I place my voice somewhere, what am I doing here? La. See? What about on my navel? La. Are there different amounts in my diaphragm, different amounts of energy required to sing on my navel or sing on top of my head? Well, you can try that out and see what you think. But Joan Sutherland and Franco Corelli sang in the back of their necks. Sutherland called it the hook. You hang a coat on a clothes hook back there. Corelli called it behind the glottal stroke. If I do that, what is required is an ever compensating amount of variable energy. The energy demand requirement is changing all the time. And after a while, if you can just get the idea to keep the posture of the diaphragm the same, then your back will take care of you. Your back will give the energy it needs under the compression that it needs, and sometimes it won't give as much, and it doesn't need as much compression. So if I say keep the energy the same, energy of what? See? Energy of this to keep it the same, and also that is a corresponding, remember every action has an opposite reaction? If I do it here, I get a reaction which is compensating exactly the same amount of energy to balance this. So it's a beautiful system if you can get it. You can sing all day on this, and really every day, all day, every day. And believe me, in Germany, very often singers, they rehearse all day and sing at night, and travel and sing overnight someplace, and come back on the train the same night and get up for rehearsal the next morning. It's a very, very busy life. But you need to understand that if you start shoving and pushing air trying to get notes, and if you cover the wrong way, la, 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 that requires a change of posture, not just a change of energy. But the posture of my diaphragm changed. It went out and pushed a little bit. Changed shape. What about the same shape? La, 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 la. Now it didn't do anything. Now I maintain the posture of my diaphragm by letting my energy give more where it's necessary and less where I don't need it. Anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I mean, I can say this over and over and over, and I can demonstrate. You know, I'm 84 years old. I can still sing all day long. It doesn't sound like I'm a young whippersnapper like I did once upon a time. Sounds like an old geezer, but I can still get the notes. You know, I admire, La Forese and what's his name, Ivan Kozlovsky, the Ukrainian. These guys are in their 90s. They're still singing. Well, that's my plan. Give a concert on my 100th birthday. Wouldn't that be fun? But anyway, how do I do this? All these indicators that I've been talking about for a long time. Bob, 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 bob. Ma. La. Ooh, ah. Oops, moved. Ooh, ah. Yum, 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 yum. So all of these work to establish the preset, the perfect posture of the diaphragm. Once it's there, then I've got to maintain the energy levels myself. I can't depend on the posture. Some people do it on every note. I mean, I remember Martinelli. I studied a little bit with Martinelli, Giovanni Martinelli, and he taught me a couple of things. He taught me the spinto method, which is don't breathe. And you start empty, and you don't start empty. You just don't fill up. You just don't breathe. Stand like that. Then you go, and that works because the back immediately squeezes, and that push, the push from the back is why it's called spinto. Spinto means to push. So you push the air from your back because you're not full like this, and you can sort of let it come out like that. You're this way, and you didn't breathe deliberately. In his case, a true spinto deliberately does not breathe, and then the only way to get the sound out now, Caruso called it squeeze. The Italian word is push. So you can figure out for yourself: are you pushing or squeezing back there? Because now here I am. I'm standing like this. La, 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 la. Now, what about our diaphragm? If I don't breathe, I still have to establish a posture of the diaphragm that will let me sing and keep my throat free. I was going to say while I go about air column. You see, I can't form air. I can't do anything with it. So, but I create muscle functions and muscle postures that create an air column for me, and then my job is to maintain the air column by maintaining enough, let's call it pressure from the back to equalize the needs of my diaphragm. So it's a little bit complicated, so it's better sometimes singers not think very much. Just don't exceed what is necessary to the diaphragm, and if you don't give quite enough, you'll crack once in a while. It's not a crime. La 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 la. So I've heard singers do. I've done it myself. The best one I ever heard and covered that was Richard Tucker in a performance of Tosca, and he cracked a note and he just pretended he was sobbing. It just went on and nobody even knew it. A couple of us knew it because we were close to him and listened to him and even had lessons with him. So we knew, but he was a master, and he knew if I'm singing a note and it cracks, I just pretend I'm sobbing. Now, what about sobbing? Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. If I go a fast one, I get ah, ah. All right. Now, I've established an attachment. I've got the action of my diaphragm, and now I have to maintain the energy to keep this diaphragmatic shape the way it is now. Ooh, ah. That's the shape. So some singers sob all the time. You don't really need to sob all the time. You need to know what you're doing with your breath. You sob once, you've got that attachment. You know, you shouldn't have to sob too much, but you know, some of the fabulous singers sob. Why not? I'm using the sob to reestablish what? The shape of my diaphragm. When I get a certain shape, I want to maintain that shape. Therefore, I have to give the amount of energy that it equalizes the resistance of my vocal cords. And the resistance changes all the time. This is the whole point. When we go very high and very low and everything in between, even a little change sometimes can change you. If you're, let's say you say a phrase dramatically. Well, that takes more energy. And if I went, that's much less energy required to maintain the posture of my diaphragm. People used to, I remember I used to work with some coach who used to say, no, don't dribble the basketball. Put the basketball gently down on the floor and leave it there and don't let it move. So that's your diaphragm. You don't let it move, he said. If it's dribbling like that, you're having to compensate a lot back and forth all the time. More here, less there, more there, less here. And it's very, very difficult, even for very, very experienced singers, to do that. And young singers should be very careful of what they sing. I know you want to work and you want to get a job, and some is tempting, but there's an old saying in singing, which is sing the lyric music dramatically and the dramatic music lyrically. So if I'm singing some real dramatic part, I have to be very, very careful. I do not want to get a lot of weight in my voice and start doing that. Then I have to pump even more air, and my diaphragm doesn't know what the heck to do. I can use resonance enhancements like the pre-sneeze. No. See? That's also one of the possible open throats in singing, because you go, and your throat opens. A-E-O-O. Some people just maintain the open throat. Now what if you're asleep at night? And I wake you up and say, sing! And your throat is like this. You've been sound asleep. What do you do to sing? And what do you do to keep your voice from changing, cracking, pushing, or rupturing? Right? We want to do this like this. I don't think you'll see it on this screen, but the point is I'm pulling my tongue out and wagging it, and I'm wiggling my jaw and my hyoid muscle, and here is absolutely soft, see? Which means the entire throat, jaw, tongue area does nothing. Ava Turner called that the invisible jaw, invisible tongue, and invisible throat. And she got it from Dan Rotham, who was Manuel Garcia's top student who became a teacher. So it's a pretty good idea. If I don't do anything here, I have to do something somewhere else. And if that where else, we can let it happen by itself. If I can go, no, there it is. It's right in the diaphragm if I do nothing. Now, I've done a couple of diaphragmatic videos, one about that, the alphabet and the art of diaphragmatic singing. Watch those and then watch this one, and you'll see what we're after is the posture, not the push. And people who say push, they're not bad singers. It's just a word that unfortunately we can translate the wrong way. And some singers try to hold a certain amount of push all the time, like that. I'm going to put a little push on it. See, now can I sing that way? See, I didn't make that phonation. That automatically happened because I was squeezing my throat as a reaction to my diaphragm. So one thing we want all the time is an open throat. We had Helge Lostvang that did that and breathed the back of the tongue down. But he did yoga 3 hours a day for 55 years. He was like an incredible breather, unbelievable. He'd go, but the posture of the diaphragm does not change. It's energized as necessary, and the back provides the breath that creates a compression and the energy, so we have to breathe in our backs. If you want to sing diaphragmatically, you have to breathe in your back. Okay, so I hope this one will, it will help sort of complete the sort of little diaphragmatic series I did there. So I hope you guys will do fine, okay? All right, bye.